Welcome to our session on SQL Report Builder for Business Intelligence. We're going to walk through using wizards to create table-based reports, charts, gauges, and maps that reflect our business data upon a mapping system. So we'll start with our table matrix wizard. We'll go into our views and select our customer data view. And we're going to pull in and categorize our sales by territory first. And then within each territory, we're going to see the customer name, the state, and the sales year to date. Click Next and Finish. And we'll give it a new title. Sales by territory. We'll also resize these columns quickly and easily so that they show a little bit better on the report. And we'll test that out. So you can see that we have our information here by territory. We also have the ability to drill down and see the detail that makes up those subtotals for each sales territory. Now we may want to categorize this with a fill color that will give us this information a little bit more graphically. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the text box properties of that subtotal, and we're going to change it and put in a formula that's a conditional if formula. And we're going to then be able to see with a green, yellow, red type of graphical formatting to show us which territories should be of concern to whoever is looking at this particular report. Additionally, we may want to put a gauge into the report as well. So not only can we create table-based reports, but we can put either charts onto the bottom of the report, or we can add gauges or charts right into the cells of the table report. We're going to go back to our design, and we're going to right-click in the white area below the table, and we're going to select a chart. We're going to select a pie chart, click OK, and then as part of this pie chart, we're going to pull data in, again, from the data set. And we're going to select from this report on our customer data the sales territory and the sales year to date. And we're going to group by and sum up the sales year to date by territory. We'll click OK. And in our properties here, we're going to add our sum value is going to be summed by sales year to date, and we're going to run this report. And now we've got a categorization within the report that shows the chart by title, which is showing our different values of sales for each of the different groupings. Next, we're going to look at adding a gauge into the table-based report. So we're going to first we're going to insert a column to the right, and then to the right of the summary for each sales territory, we're going to insert a gauge. We're going to add like a little linear gauge here. And we're going to give this report a little bit more size. So we can see that gauge a little bit better. And then inside of the gauge, we then can control what things are driving each parts of the gauge. So we can have the pointer drive from a particular value. In this case, we want it to come off of the sales year to date. And we can change the gauge to be a couple different styles. So we'll use a standard format here. And we'll click OK. The other thing we'll want to do is set the scale properties and the range properties. So in the scale properties, we want to put a minimum and a maximum. So in this case, we'll put 2 million as our maximum and click OK. And then on the gauge panel for the range properties, we'll also want to put a starting and 2 million here as well. Click OK. And now when we run this, we should have a representation with a gauge that shows between 0 and 2 million which of these is a representation of the actual sales data that's listed there. So in a graphical format, we can show either with colors or with some type of gauge, a dashboard type gauge, we can show the same type of information in relative positions of each thing. If we do a save, we can save this up to our server. So we can go into our GP, Microsoft Dynamics GP reports, and we can save this under charts and KPIs. And I've done this before, so there's already one there, but we're just going to call this one Sales by Territory number 2. And then if we look inside of Microsoft Dynamics GP, or any other accounting software that allows for visibility into SRS dashboard objects, if we refresh our screen, and we select the metrics of Microsoft Dynamics GP, we can come in and we can select our Sales Territory 2, insert it into the dashboard objects that we want displayed, click OK, and refresh our dashboard. And now that we can see, we actually have Sales by Territory as a dashboard object within our accounting software package. Additionally, we can view these types of dashboard objects that we can create with SQL Report Builder within a product called Microsoft Dynamics GP Business Analyzer. In Business Analyzer, these same dashboard objects can be loaded into an interface that allows our business users who are not accounting software users to be able to look through and grab certain dashboard objects that they want and insert that into their list of dashboard objects. Maybe they even want to put it up at the top. Once they click OK here, we can see that the dashboard object is now visible as one of the objects that can be paged through in terms of a dashboard that gives users the ability to see important information. Now if we look inside of Microsoft Dynamics GP, there's a product installed which allows us to store and download latitude and longitude, geospatial data, from the web for all of the addresses within our accounting system. This product's available from ICANN Software Corporation. It automatically downloads all of the address records from within the ERP accounting system. We can even be specific, and we can say just customer address records or vendor address records. But the important thing is that it's going to go out and get the precise latitude and longitude for our addresses of our vendors and our customers and employees, etc. It also is going to validate those address records as well. So if they're missing some of the address information, say the zip code's missing, or it's a partial zip code, or the city and state is missing, it can fill in the gaps in the address, validate it, make sure it's correct, and then save it correctly. When this thing runs, it loops through all of our customers in this particular example. The first time it runs, it's going to go through a little bit slower than normal, but after the initial set is done, it runs much faster. So we can refresh this at any particular time that we want. So if we refresh this now, you can see that it's running much faster after it does its initial load. And as an example of where this information is stored, if we're looking at a customer address for our favorite customer, Aaron Fitz Electrical, and the primary address, if, for instance, we're missing the city and the state, perhaps we collected this information and we only asked for a zip code and a street address. If that's all the information that we had, when the download of the customer address record occurs, it's going to fill in that gapping in the address record. So if we go back to our sales addresses, select our customer again, customer address, you can see it's filled in the city and state based off of the zip. Now, if it didn't have a zip code, would be another possible scenario. We've got the street and the city and the state, but we don't have the zip code. Again, if we run our GeoData routine and go back and look at the customer again, for this particular customer address, we're going to see again it's filled in the full zip code based off the street address and the city and the state. This information, along with the geospatial information that's downloaded as well, is what is able to allow users to run data-driven maps where we can build charts that show, for instance, top 10 customers mapped onto a map of the United States. The important thing for being able to do that is a latitude and a longitude. By having a nice, easy way to get that for all the addresses in your ERP system, we now enable your ERP system to be a valuable source of data-driven maps. And we can have maps added to the metrics, just like we added maps previously to the SRS site. We could look at a map of the United States. Actually, this is a map that was from our demo in Colorado. And we'll refresh this page and then go back and look at our chart for our Colorado demo. And now we've got top 10 customer sales mapped onto a map of the United States. This concludes our demonstration of how Microsoft SQL Report Builder can be utilized to create business intelligence when combined with Microsoft partner ICANN Software Corporation's GeoData product.